we are going to have the second review demo of Sinéad and Fionnola's form, and this is going to be quite an important one because it's going to contain kind of the handover, like the action points for the handover as well. So the things that we suggest or comment on need to be noted down, and perhaps maybe Sinéad and Fionola can do that, and just send it to us as part of like a handover document that we can then pass on to the next person who's going to pick up this interview. Okay, so whoever's going to share their screen, could you get started and we can get cracking on this.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Just a reminder, this is the notice of limited appearance?
Notice of limited appearance, yeah.
Okay.
I hope my internet is going to cooperate.
This is standard, right?
Yeah, this is just a basic question. So we asked Kate after our last presentation whether we should have multiple docket numbers, and she suggested it would be a good idea. So we have multiple docket numbers now.
Good add.
We wrote this question. It's the same as the last time though.
And obviously, as we said, this is only going to be completed by attorney, so it's like plaintiff, defendant, and then your name being the attorney's name. Is it always? Is it always going to be the plaintiff, or could it be the plaintiff or defendant's attorney who's filing this?
One or the other.
Okay.
So the attorney can represent either or. This is the basic question that we edited, so it would refer to the client as opposed to the attorney.
Okay.
There might be some language issues. There probably is.
No, I think that looks good to me. I think that, you know, if we do another pass for plain language, nothing sticks out to me right now. Okay. I think this looks good, and I think it's framed better than how it was previously.
Mm-hmm. So the last time we had the "what is your client's name" question, but we got rid of that at Teaching Tuesday, and then we consolidated. So this screen here had information that was in 3 separate screens the last day. So we consolidated it all so that it would all appear on this one screen.
Okay. And these are checkboxes, not radio buttons, or?
Yeah, so they're checkboxes.
Would you not, this is for an attorney, would you not say you and your client have both signed a written agreement?
Yeah.
Or this is what shows up on the form, something like that, but.
Okay. Yeah, we can change that pretty easily. So you and the client have both, you and your client have both signed.
That was
just for you to represent, and then you've already asked for the client's name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I might just say, sorry, like what events are you representing your client on?
Okay. I suppose this screen, we kind of took the information from the form as it was stated.
Right.
But we can reword that.
Mm-hmm.
If Sinead would just take a note.
Yeah, I have.
So we have all these options, and you have to choose at least one to proceed with the interview. And then we have this notice at the bottom of the screen as well.
Just a thing that what we've been doing, as I said, in the civil action cover sheet is actually linking to the rules. So the trial court rule, perhaps you could just put a note there that the next person will actually just link to that.
Okay. Like a URL?
Yeah, done in that the way of square brackets and then round brackets. So it's pretty simple to do. It's just something that they can do that makes it easier to access.
Sorry. So there's something a bit odd about this thing at the bottom, notice to all other parties. I mean, you're talking to the attorney. The attorney's filling out this form, and then you put a notice to other that notice to other parties goes in the form, but I don't see the purpose of putting it in the interview, saying that essentially you're saying in the interview to the attorney, all other parties must serve you and your client. I think that's what this is saying. So I'm not quite sure why it's in a screen.
Okay. Well, on the form, it appears here after the issues and events. So we kind of just kept it to the way it was like phrased in the form, but we can change that as well.
That form, if I'm an attorney, I fill out that form and I file it at court. And then what do you think happens once I file that at court?
It's given to the other party that your case is being taken against, so that's when you'd need that probably.
I think so. So I think it's there because it's a notice to the people who are receiving it.
Is it, or is it telling, or do you have to serve your LAR on the other party?
No, it's saying you will be served. You must be. It's not saying other parties must be served. It's saying you, the LAR, and your party must be served. That's what it's saying, right?
Yeah,
for all matters.
You're right, Caroline. I didn't get that when I was looking at this before. Sorry, I was helping Paula with something like this.
We can make a note of that.
Yeah. You can probably just take that out. Okay. That's right. I know we spent all this time getting the language right to show up there, but I think Caroline's right. I think we can keep it out.
Okay. Is there anything else, or will I continue?
I think you can continue. What is an LAR attorney, though, quickly?
Limited assistance representation. So it's someone representing a client for just one event rather than being in for the whole case.
Got it.
So I don't think there was any issues with it with this the last day. Just the heading had to be changed. So previously we had contact information and then in brackets address, and then we just made fax number and unit number not required.
Okay. That looks good. Who still uses faxes though? Like for real? Do you guys use them in the States?
A lot of people. Yeah.
Okay, that was. Sorry.
There's a peculiar legal rationale why a lot of medical professionals still use them, because it's a route of communicating information that is allowed under a particular law, and so yeah, it gets used a lot.
Ironically, then it gets emailed usually. Most people use a fax to email gateway.
Right. So something gets faxed and then you can receive it via email. They were saying it's like probably the most, I don't know, like in terms of encryption and stuff, they were like faxing is like really safe method of sending stuff. That was my.
So normal faxes go over the normal phone line, and before normal phone lines were voice over IP, it meant that it actually had to went over the phone line, so someone would have to tap your phone to get access to the information. Right. Whereas anything sent over the internet, you can just have someone in the middle access your information. So the idea being emails go through a bunch of computers unencrypted, but the world is different now than it was then, actually. So it doesn't quite all hold up, but anyhow.
Apologies for that aside. Okay, so I think that this is nice how you've done this. You've got address and fax and then phone number and email. Just one question is why the fax is not on the kind of phone number and email page?
Because this question got generated after we added the cover sheet, and we tried to put fax on it, and then basically it was a problem with the cover sheet. But the last review we had, you guys said we didn't need a cover sheet.
Okay.
So we could probably just put the fax back in here.
Okay.
If you think that looks better.
I think it's just more logical, and I'm not sure what's everyone else's opinion.
If we are trying to create as few pages as possible, which, I mean, the previous page looked really long to me, but if that's what attorneys want, then why not just put all of these on there? Quinn, you are muted.
Putting these
Can
three
you see the
inputs.
previous screen one more time?
I think actually I actually kind of like the way it's broken up here. I do think people like to see everything on one screen, but the flip side of this is this is the information that has to go on the form. The second screen is actually about how the court can contact the attorney. And right now, I would guess that most attorneys don't want to be contacted by fax.
Okay. Okay.
And I would guess so they're really two different concepts.
Okay.
So that's a guess. That might be something to test with attorneys who might be using this form.
Yeah. Right.
I know Kate uses this form, so we can message her.
Okay.
And see what she thinks.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea. I didn't realize she used this.
Yeah, well, she said she's used this before.
All right.
And also, it is entirely appropriate for you to just to put these issues, add these
Right.
issues, and leave them for someone else. It is your last day.
That's,
Yeah,
that's,
yeah. Oh,
that's a
definitely.
very good
Yeah.
point. Thank you. Thank you, David. Everything that we're suggesting now, the least or the most that you have to do is just include it in an issue so that we
An
know.
issue. Yeah.
We had a meeting with Michelle. I think it was yesterday or the day before, and she had some suggestions that we created issues of those suggestions on GitHub, so they should be in that repository that we created.
Okay. Perfect.
So then this is the preview. So the interview was shortened a lot.
Yeah. I think that's nice for, as I said, for the attorney. Okay, so this was something that I meant to say that it was raised again in outing because, as I said, we also have a certification. And Quinton, I kind of recall you saying that certification should really come up front. I'm not sure if it was you. It should come up front because you don't want people to get all the way to the end and then not want to certify or something like that. So having the certification or any kind of requirements up front, just in terms of the flow of the interview, would have been better. I'm not sure. Could you perhaps speak to that, or am I mistaking?
I think we have different perspectives on it among the team. So Michelle had pointed that out, and there's social science research that shows if you want people to answer honestly, ask them to say they're going to do it honestly at the beginning instead of at the end, which is very true. And then I think between Kate, Caroline, and myself, we had thought for usability reasons, it is much easier to ask people to do that once they know what they're going to be talking about at the end of the interview rather than at the beginning. Okay. And we were comfortable with, us not having to be the enforcers of them. Right. Getting that reminder to be really super truthful as they can be at the beginning, because that's not our goal. We're letting them fill in the form and they're responsible for what goes on it.
But there's a slight tweak to that in that we tell them they have to tell the truth, but we don't make them certify to the end.
Yes.
So we introduce the topic of, you've got to tell the truth. But then when you get to the end, you're about to sign, that's where the pudding takes place.
Yeah, that's a really important point. You have to remind them at the beginning.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, I was just confused on that point. Thank you for the clarification.
And
we don't worry about lawyers.
and then I noticed here it's saying that they have already. This is the LAR.
Yeah.
So it's saying they have already served it, which they probably haven't done since they only just saw the preview and haven't signed it yet. So.
But the lawyers all say, every single lawyer we've talked to about this says, "Oh, we always say we've already done it because we're going to do it when we do it."
Yeah, that's what I say simultaneous service, but
I might pull out one piece of this, which might not be clear if you haven't had to do the certification information session. That might be a screener at the beginning. People
Oh.
cannot do LAR
idea.
unless they have. It's a really silly training, like an hour-long recording of a
Online.
judge talking,
Right.
reading out loud, basically. You have to do this though. In order to do LAR, you have to have gone through that training. You have to listen to this audio, hour-long judge reading something. That's how you prove you're qualified to do LAR. So
Okay.
they shouldn't even start this interview if they haven't done that.
So maybe, guys, maybe an issue could be, as Quentin says, like just a reminder that you've done that.
So I
So,
think he's saying split this into two
Yeah.
So
and move one of them to the front.
Okay, so like this maybe at the beginning.
Well, I don't know if it's, David, I don't know if it's split into two. Well, you just asked them the question in the beginning. Have you completed the LAR training? Yes or no?
Yes. But then you can't also ask them there if they have served the service. So you have to be splitting it into two if you move that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So have this section at the beginning as a question, and then have this as like a certified checkbox.
Okay.
Yeah, so in the first you'd ask, have you done this class? If no, then you better do this class. Here's the
Check
link
out.
to the video.
Yeah.
And then
If
they
you-
can just have that in the template, right? They can just they don't have to ask it again. It's if you're taking.
Yeah, no, if they've said that,
Yeah, right. Then
we would just ask here about the service.
Okay. And
I
would you ask this question at the very beginning, or?
I think I might. I think I might ask it after the first intro screen. Keep the intro screen as a continue or
Right.
next, and then have the next thing be just a reminder. You only can fill this out if you've done the info session. Have you done that already? And if they say no, take them to an exit screen.
Okay,
Just come back when you've taken the class.
Yeah.
that would be the first exit screen of the interview. How exciting!
All right. Maybe we could even link them to where they do the training.
Yeah, that's what I would think would be great.
And
I
you were
do.
The great thing is right now, all you got to do is put in an issue. You don't have to worry about finding it. Someone else will do it.
This is future
just
notice
create as
of
many
limited
issues as
appearance.
possible. Okay, will I continue or?
Yeah.
Okay. So we changed this again from the last day. You had suggested kind of to put in a warning that they would have to text their client a link to sign the form. It might need to be stated a little clearer, but
And is this, sorry, I might have missed it, but is this mentioned in the beginning of the interview as well?
no, this is the first mention of it.
Perhaps
At
it
this-
might be a good idea to mention it at the beginning.
On the very first page, or on a like
Yeah,
page
kind of like what we were saying about the marriage without delay form yesterday. Like you need to be with your partner to do this, something like that. What, I don't know. What does everybody else think?
They won't need to be with the client.
No, I know.
Like-
Oh, so they just have to text the person, right? So it's nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's fine.
I wonder if we should make that optional, the signature of the client. They might have a really good reason to want to prepare these pleadings this way.
You can
Is Caroline breaking up really badly for anyone else?
Yeah.
If you don't.
Okay. Sorry, Caroline, you're breaking up really badly. I'm not sure if it's the internet.
I thought it was mine.
I thought it was mine as well.
I kept moving my laptop more towards the door to get better Wi-Fi.
Caroline, can you hear us? I think she might have gone, guys.
Oh, she can.
She can't hear us.
Caroline, you're muted in case you're not aware. The best we can do.
Okay. When she comes back to us, then we'll. I can't even remember what the topic was now.
It's getting the client maybe not to sign it at this moment.
I was wondering if people might have a reason to use this if they didn't have if their client wasn't ready to sign it yet. They can't submit it without that, but we're not doing e-filing, right? For this one?
No. So this is just the preparation of the form that we're helping with.
So maybe it's just that
We
you have
see-
the option to text. Otherwise,
We see what you're writing, Caroline, so feel free to. Sorry, I should have written that. All right. Yep.
What were you saying, David?
I was saying we could say that it's an option for you to text to have your client sign. Otherwise, you could say print it or whatnot.
Actually, Michelle suggested to put an email option in where you email them a link to sign the form, and we have that tagged as
Issue on GitHub.
Okay.
Yeah, make that an issue. That is something that I am currently working on that has ended up being quite a journey. So we'll work on that.
Will I continue?
Yep.
So then this screen we also reworded and we removed the sign on this computer option because the attorney's already signed. And then we also removed the QR code because, again, the attorney's already signed. Does anyone want to give me a number?
Can you just put in a random number, or is it validation?
It won't
Well,
let us do the right one.
if you put in a random number and then you click next, this like the
Actually, that's the
client.
one. I'm going to put a number in the chat. That way it won't be in the recording.
What I'm gonna do but I think it. Okay, I'm gonna just pause the recording so that you can put that number.
Caroline.
Back on the road.
All right, signed.
Okay. And David, it doesn't come up anymore. Continue on this device because we changed that. It
It
should
says,
just-
thank you for signing. You can now close this browser on your phone.
Okay.
Very nice.
And then that's the end of the interview. We removed the cover page and all those other screens. We removed the submit to court button as well. So we have the option to email and the PDF.
And if you click on it, I'm just concerned about the red.
Oh yeah, we just
Caroline
have to change
says
the
very
font.
nice.
Okay.
It also occurs to me if our use case is that they might not sign it now or they might download it. Oh wow, my signature looks really nice. You might want to give them the option when they're signing to sign on the screen or sign on print. Like do you want to sign on? Do you want to sign on the screen, or are you going to sign the printed copy or whatever? Oh no, though I guess we want to send it to the client with it already signed by the attorney.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Michelle also suggested it might be helpful to have an option for the attorney to sign on the computer, but also if they wanted to sign on their phone. So we also flagged that on GitHub.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think eventually that's a use case. I recognize why you did it the way you did, though, because of the existing signature.
This is definitely good for MVP. It was just to flag as a possible future feature.
Guys, this is looking so good. So is an issue to change the font color?
No.
Yes, it should be.
We should have done that already. Sorry.
No, don't worry. If you just put that as an issue, then somebody will change the template color. Okay, so this looks really good. Really impressed with the work that you've done.
Are you okay with how that's presented? Because it's like docket number and other docket number, or
sorry.
They've got multiple docket numbers on there.
What were you saying, Sinead?
Are you okay with that just being an and, or would you prefer like a comma? Or
what happens if it's what happens if it's 3?
It comes up comma, and then and.
I think that's fine. What does everybody else think?
I think that's fine, as long as it's not going to run out of space.
Yeah, I think other than the changing the red to black, I think this looks really good, and I think that the flow that you guys have got is good.
This is awesome, folks.
So when it goes live, we will be sure to send you a link.
Yeah, well done. Just you two should be proud of yourselves.
Yeah, 100%, definitely. Guys, look how cool Sam's background is.
Yeah, I've noticed that earlier.
I'm going to stop recording now.